We're here to do the Divine Masculine update for the second week of October. Yes, as mentioned, we do cover these weekly. I do have the cards here. And already the crowning energy for Divine Masculine is really looking like an element of healing. And I do believe this may have something to do with the eclipse, especially when we do look at the overall energy of what is coming through with Divine Masculine this week. And I really feel they're feeling this change coming. A lot of these cards, and I'll show the main spread before I get into the channeled energy, it's really looking as though there's healing, there's reflection, there's moving into alignment. And I think this is because of a major shift that is pending about to happen. So these individuals this week, especially with the crowning energy, we can see the lotus flower, and it is almost the magician energy. And I feel it's within their own emotions. It's the healing within their own emotions. This is a feminine energy. We do have the butterfly on the forehead of the intuition and the intellect, trying to get into balance. We do have a new life that's coming through, with the cats coming through, and the serpent. With the color, I also do feel this is the power to make those changes, especially with all the blue around them. They're really thinking about this, the power of healing, and how much this is going to aid them in their process, but they're taking a minute. And I'm almost looking at the scrying bowl with the lotus flower, where they're directly looking at it and saying, okay, I'm intuitively thinking and reflecting upon it. And, a lot of times when we do actually go into that daydream, it's where we're actually scrying and we're going into that lull kind of vibration to intuitively tap into our intuition. And we do tend to get downloads that way. So I do believe these individuals are doing such. Looking at the first row, we're getting into the past position now. I am looking at the staff that they're holding, the cloak, again, quite a lot of blue. And this is a card deemed healing, but I would say, again, I'm noticing with it's almost like a torch, and we do have a few cards here that are representing such, especially with the heart of it. I do believe the Hermit energy did come about during both Venus retrograde and Mercury retrograde, and really moving into the first 2 weeks of this month. We were already preparing for eclipse season. So I do potentially feel these individuals are intellectually really going inside, needing to recover after our retrogrades. And the retrogrades were really doing such, especially with the previous moon last month. We had the moon in Aries, and now it's moving into the eclipse energy. I see Divine Masculine here, almost in the heart of it, gaining clarity of their heart. And I see the movement forward is really getting into alignment of the magician energy. And being the full card in tarot and actually moving forward. And I feel this is what they're preparing for. Some are going to do this very intentionally. Some potentially are going through this, and it's an indication that it's going to happen to them. So why is that so? Sometimes we know what we need to do, but we could be avoiding things. This could be people, places, and things, leaving them, resolving them, dissolving them. It could also be an emotional related dynamic, but I do see the full card here of there is going to be a brand new beginning. And when we do have eclipses, especially this one in particular, it is going to set the tone for a couple of decades. So it's not just something that's it's not something short term. This is a long term shift. Some are going to be ready for this, some are not. Regardless, there is a new chapter coming, and it is going to give them what they're wanting, they just unbeknownst to them. Now we get further into the energy, and we are seeing an element where their perception of this situation is going to shift. And it is to do with endings. And, a lot of times we may want to have an outcome, but know that maybe there's steps that we're needing to take. We could be afraid of them. We could be worried about them. They are getting into that yin and yang frequency. And I do particularly feel this is in relationship to Divine Feminine. And they know that overall, this is going to be like the golden couple. This is going to be a situation where when you have harmony between both parties, it flows. It flows beautifully. It's team orientated, but it's also them within themselves knowing what is going to be best for them. I do feel, like I mentioned before, they know that they've got this. Some of it, it's happening sooner than they thought. They did have, some may have been in a little bit of ego. Again, we go back to the Chiron energy, that's crowning. And it's like, okay, I have the magician. I've got the frequency of looking at the two of us, how it's going to be, how I get from point A to point B. And again, something could be binding them. Could it be the intellect and the intuition of how this transformation should come about? Potentially, because we do see the butterfly on the third eye, and we also see the eye above the crown chakra. So their viewpoint of it could be a little bit clouded. It doesn't mean they have ill intent. It could be that it feels the safest route. So for those individuals, especially with the purity and the healing with the Chiron lotus flower sitting in the scrying bowl, I do particularly feel it's happening for them. They may feel at the time it's happening to them. So what could that look like? It could be a tower. It could be an exit stage. And maybe if they delayed leaving a karmic situation, the karmic leaves them. However this is playing out, it is inevitably what they did want. It's just coming a heck of a lot sooner than they had anticipated. The second group I'm seeing are intentionally choosing to do this in awareness of what the binding situation is. This could have been manipulation. This could have been somebody using dark magic on them. Regardless of what it is, they're shifting it. They're in awareness of it. They're taking accountability. And I do particularly feel they're looking at this. They're going inside. They have been pondering this situation for quite a while. And in the heart of it, they have gained a lot of peace. They might have been a bit, especially for those of you in communication, this could have been a state where communication had died. It had really frizzled out. It had been very flighty. Again, this for those of you with no communication, it can be the 5D where it was very hot and cold, very mixed signaled. Regardless of how this is happening, it is happening both with the 3D where individuals are communicating and the 5D where individuals are getting the psychic downloads. This shift is eventuating in the full card, which again is 0. Anytime we see a 0, it is a brand new chapter. It's a wrap up. It can be directly after a tower. They're not showing this in the cards. I will pull a clarify, but I think it's more that if that's going to be so, it's going to be because they aren't allowed to see it because it's a necessary change that has to happen. And sometimes, like I said, the ego can be involved and we just can't see an outcome. We can't see how it would be possible that a tower moment can bring positivity. So their perception directly is going to be shifting through this. It could be, how do I explain it? A little bit like day and night after, in the aftermath, and their perception of how they see things will really come about. This is going to provide a breakthrough though. And this breakthrough, especially if there is a choice between two individuals, I feel they do know the highest choice that they want, and I do feel this is divine feminine. They just had not felt as worthy for this person, for divine feminine, due to the sadness that was, occurred within the connection. So we're now looking at, a subject to do with the masculine and feminine, and that this really does bring them a great deal of happiness. What revelations are they discovering, please, in the heart of the situation where reflection has been necessary? It's really funny because in the highest octave, they've learned a lot. They feel when they think before they react, they get better outcomes. They do want to surprise you. This can be, they really want to surprise you. I'm hearing the term having to be the bearer of bad news, but this is true. This is especially if there was in the above row, where there was a thought of two individuals, the individual they're choosing is divine feminine. There might be a bit of pill to swallow when they are actually having to get kind of break away from a karmic situation. Again, a karmic situation doesn't have to be a romantic liaison, romantic partner. It could be a work related environment. It can be a family related environment. Whatever this situation is, it does feel a big conversation piece is going to come, and they're kind of delaying it. But like I said, to the top of the energy, it does appear to be those that are delaying and feeling that they're doing this and they have the very best of intentions of how they're going to handle it. It's kind of going to happen to them, so they do have to address it. This person at times may have had wellness issues. This person might have been very intent on making this connection work, of having an ideal of what they thought that divine masculine should want. But they're holding they're almost unable to give their heart any further to anyone else. They're going into their wisdom, and it's this revelation that, being able to give yourself to somebody else, you really, within yourself, there's almost a slight reserve that we leave only for that one true love, and it can't be faked. I do feel time has made this person more wise, and it was what their hope was. They just didn't feel it was going to come through in the way it did. They are concerned about age. Some have been snooping on you. Some do have a friend where they are communicating with to find information about you. I also feel for those of you that were in communication, after such, I do feel this person has really sat and pondered some of the statements that you made. They do feel spiritually this is a very almost like previous life energy, especially with the outcome card being a child. But this is more, the child is representing a brand new rebirth, a rebirth of this connection, a rebirth of their life. Again, like I said, this can be a very scary time for these individuals. Some of them are going into it full force willingly, very wise beyond their years, and knowing that this was destined to happen, it was coming. You can delay the inevitable, but inevitably it's going to happen. They do wish it happened a lot earlier. They did know a very long time ago. They might have gone down a different path. They're almost making reference to the right person at the wrong time. There's lots of regrets here. And they're actually going to surprise you. This does feel that they're ready to also believe everything they say. They're ready to put in a brand new chapter to, bring about the change and the rebirth. It's going to be even the smaller details and the smaller things. I do feel they know count so much. There is a lot of passion between you. They do feel very nurtured and loved when they are with you. And I definitely feel there's two groups here I'm seeing this week. One definitely is going into this knowing that they have their intellect involved. Could be the monkey mind, could be thinking they know best. Regardless, it is going to turn out for the best, but it could eventuate in a tower. The other is intentionally walking out of situations, healing, being more open and in alignment to give you what you need. We will see how this turns out. Be ready for some surprises. They're on their way.